I've now been a homeowner for 4 years. And in theory, buying your first place would usually be like exciting. I mean, in my case, it meant no more inspections, no more moving every year, no more arbitrary policies, and no more fighting for security deposits. And buying an empty shell of a house initially felt like the beginning of endless opportunity. I unlocked my house with my key, and I walk around this blank canvas. I was imagining where I'd put furniture, what colors I'd paint the walls, which rooms would be for my hobbies. Maybe I'd go crazy and even hang some art. But I recently heard in another video that your rent is the maximum you'll pay per month, while your mortgage is the minimum you'll pay per month in order to keep your house not just yours, but in one piece. Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm an additional piece of evidence to prove this as true. Because wiring that $40,000 down payment immediately opened up the Pandora's box of new quests. Quests that reward me with things like taking hot showers, drinking uncontaminated water, turning on the ceiling fan, using the AC. Stuff that I sort of took for granted when I could just speed dial my landlord that something broke, or worst case, if the house really sucks, I just wait for the lease to end and I move somewhere else. And I knew that going into it, it would need plenty of routine maintenance, from weekly yard work to an inevitable roof replacement in a decade or whatever. It's my birthday, so we're going to the dump. And as a homeowner, of course, you can DIY stuff to save money. And while I personally don't mind screwing around with taking some tools, going in the crawl space, getting covered in spiders, it's not exactly how I want to spend my day off, or, well, more like every day off, because just there's a lot to do. I pretty much had to temporarily give up just all hobbies. Any hobby that I would usually casually enjoy on my weekend or on a Friday evening. Instead, I'd have to whip out the toolbox and just start banging away on my property. Now, okay, if you don't want to DIY it, you can also just hire professionals, Except sometimes it felt like I needed to hire a professional to help me figure out which professionals to hire. Okay, for example, I had multiple plumbing projects going on at once one time, and the two companies were fighting on how to properly lay pipe. I know that sounds wrong, but how do you describe what a plumber does? I think it's how to properly lay pipe. Oh, I guess it's the oven?
Yes.
Water heater. I don't know what this is. So I guess we want sub panel off. Should I turn everything? I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know what this does, so we're just gonna turn it off. Anyway, their solution to properly laying pipe was undoing each other's work so that they could do it, quote, correctly, and then they would bill me for it. I genuinely didn't know who was doing it right, and they were arguing. It was so weird. But I mean, okay, luckily, not all the contractors were bad. I eventually did find a few that I could go back to who were actually helpful. But then I ran out of money because I sort of spent it all buying the house, and I kind of went a little bit over budget. I did have some money left over, but I also didn't want my entire life and all of my money to revolve around my house. I mean, I wanted to be a homeowner to make my life easier and to have a foundation, have a place to go back to, and simplify, not have to worry about a landlord and everything. Someone truly butchered this house. Just everything. I want to just beat their skull and whoever owned it left. I'll research a little more.
Back to Reddit. Play Reddit.
I did not buy a house with the intention to just become a slave to my own drywall pyramid of Giza. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I just cut it out, right?
I think so.
Kind of bang away. I wasn't going to sell the house. However, I was 2 years in. I still hadn't fulfilled a single project that I dreamed of accomplishing in my first ever home. And the amount it cost me to fix the house up to this point was way more than the amount that the house had appreciated in value. So I decided to just let the home rot. Now, to be clear, I did make sure the house was clean and orderly. I wasn't trashing it. I was even still polishing my granite. I was trying to take care of it on the surface level, regular maintenance. Oh! But anything that stopped working simply just became invisible to me. So for the second 2 years of homeownership, I kind of just decided to treat the house as if it was an abandoned property I was squatting in. Oh, we did it. And the more things I ignored, the more things began to break. But what did I do with this newfound time? I mean, the short answer is like everything. Like, I just did everything that I had been wanting to do that wasn't related to keeping my house in one piece. I just became more and more disconnected from the property. I would spend less time in it. I would think about it less. I would look around less. Instead, I produced videos. I worked on cars. I produced more videos. I traveled. I produced more videos. I made friends, and I made a lot of videos. I mostly make videos. And while this video is focused on homeownership, it's not the only thing I trimmed from my day-to-day life. I sunsetted and put to rest a lot of just random, half-baked projects. Not just house-related projects either, but just general things I was working on. I also purged a bunch of random belongings, particularly piles of items I had in storage from my recently shut down business, and I straight up just gave up landscaping. I let my property turn into a true North Carolinian jungle. However, I would occasionally come home and discover that a neighbor had actually like mowed my lawn while I was gone, so that was actually kind of nice. But in short, I narrowed my focus down to just a few things the past few years. Money, videos, health, and friendship.
I also feel. Oh God.
But as my expenses rose and as my revenue dropped month to month, my debt continued to grow. Which is why I started gig apps back in the day. I also began my slumlord saga, where I would rent rooms in my house to racist women. As my daily life changed, I had to pivot my YouTube channel accordingly. So I continually was exploring new video concepts and creating new series. And my overall health had been kind of unsustainable, and I just kept running into more and more hurdles that were making it hard to just like function. So I began to consistently exercise and learn about nutrition more. And I was much more alone than I wanted to be at this time, so I branched out who I was talking to, and I was more willing to meet up with random people to do like IRL stuff. So, someone said this looks like it's from, what's that? White Castle. It's the White Castle tape measure. Okay. We have our measurements. That pretty much summarizes my past like 2 years in about 30 seconds, which leads us to where we are today. Oh, I hate puzzles.
You have the answers though.
By making these changes, my debt is now under control. Wow, look at that. It's not crippling anymore. Now it's just regular debt. Also, I've gotten to create what I believe are some of my best videos to date. Also, I physically feel like pretty good. My health is pretty banger, and I have clear and defined goals that I'm working towards now. And I've also grown my social circle from non-existent to small, but perfectly adequate. As my girlfriend would say, I don't have a girlfriend. Yeah. And as you know, my internet friend David Lunch recently moved in with me. I did a couple videos on this, and with his help, we've finally been able to enter my house and give it a good look. I didn't put blinders on walking into the front door anymore. Like, we were really walking around, looking at problems, scrutinizing everything, and taking notes of every gritty detail that needs to be tackled. Snap. It's going in my cringe compilation. Get the mic in there. I now have the motivation, the labor, and the resources, not just money, but also time, to turn this house from one of the most dilapidated in the neighborhood to the cream of the crop, like a normal house, basically. All my neighbors, they're gonna check Zillow after I finish fixing this baby up, and they're gonna be like, dang, my property value went up. It's because of Hurt Man over there. It's because he fixed his property up so good. Everyone's house properties are gonna go up after we whip this house into shape. Now, there's never gonna be an end point where we can put our hands on our hips and be like, yep, we're done. After all, maintenance is like a perpetual thing, and more stuff is inevitably gonna break in my house because that's what houses do. They just age and they get worse. I mean, the perfect example is the first project was supposed to be in the living room, but it turns out my other tenant's shower head was spraying water into the drywall. So the drywall started to mold. Whoa, what the heck?
Did you actually? Oh.
God is real. And he just gave me Supreme Silicone 100% waterproof for kitchen and bath. Why do I have this? And that's why we had to spend a couple days replacing it. But instead of feeling held back and inconvenienced by this shower head mistake, it is kind of ironic that there were issues with the shower head. It kind of feels like karma if you watched my recent roommate series. Either way, we took this as an opportunity to go ahead and repaint the whole bathroom because that was on my very long list of to-dos. It was a low priority to do, but I was like, all right, we're already in here. Let's just throw some paint on the walls. We also finally fixed the rear lock that one of my prior tenants purposely broke off my door around the same time that she started squatting in my house. So that's a whole separate story. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, broken lock fixed.
Whoa. That was pretty easy, actually.
Oh, it's all right.
That looks better too. Shout out Milo for breaking my rear door. It's so weird. I don't know. It kind of feels like it didn't happen, but it was like it was right here. Her desk was in this very spot, next to my very happy plant.
And now I'm here.
Reality is very weird.
Indeed.
You should have voltage coming in.
I mean, it says 0, which I think is what we wanted.
I feel like this is one case where I don't want to add any input.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's fine. I need to say I'm sure. I can't say pretty
Yeah,
sure.
you probably shouldn't. Well, let me rephrase that. You definitely shouldn't.
This needs to be a very binary experience.
Mm-hmm. Just like electricity.
Or if I de-energize it.
Okay, you're not dead, so that's good so far. You didn't immediately die. Your bones didn't show through your skin and your hair didn't stick up.
My hair's sticking up a little bit, but unrelated. Woohoo!
Is that the new one?
Yeah. I feel like this isn't gonna work. This seems too easy. I guess let's turn on the whole thing and see if anything happens.
And just like that, we're back.
If we walk in and the fan is on, everything is fixed. And the fan is off. Okay. We're back to where we were. Well, we could switch it back and then I can return it. Which, one of the first things, of course, is always, maybe there's a tripped GFCI. But I'm like, well, no, all the GFCIs are fine. I feel like this hasn't been taken off in 20 years. Are these all backstabbed?
What does that mean?
Like the wire goes through the back of it instead of using the side pieces. Sometimes the backstabs just fall out. Oh, that came out weirdly easily. Yeah, see how this one doesn't come out? The other one just came out. Whoa, this was broken. Surely this won't fix it, will it?
Let's find out.
I don't have a replacement outlet or a switch. Do I? Maybe I do. My garage is a treasure chest.
So what was cracked, the switch itself or the wire?
It's this piece. It's weird that was broken, but still didn't fix it. Like, we just fixed an actual problem that was just looming, and yet there's still more problems. Back to Reddit. And to complete the trio of projects, at least in this particular video, we finally diagnosed and solved why my living room's been without power for so long. Now, none of these projects were life-changing, but being able to lock my rear door, that feels pretty good. Being able to walk in the living room, flick a switch, and the ceiling fan turns on, that's pretty heckin' epic. And pissing in a freshly painted bathroom feels pretty good. Not really, I actually don't really use this bathroom, but you know, it was cool to paint it. It's like, all right, another thing off the list. And if we keep compounding these home DIY projects like this, we're gonna be living like Larry in no time. Hopefully you'll stay tuned. because there's a lot to come. But in the meantime, if you want, you can become a channel member, not only to fund these projects, but you can talk to David and myself on Discord. We're both active literally every day.
Yeah, I don't love sticky, but this is kind of fun. Stimming.
As well as you get access to exclusive videos. And if you want to go ahead and watch some more right now, if you're chilling in bed and you're like, I want to watch some more Go Herpin content, I'll link some playlists below that may interest you, including homeownership, car projects, and side hustles. But that'll be it for this video. So I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.